Well. Let's talk about wells, healing fountains, moon wells. Howdy, Heroes Hearth. This is Kyle Fergusson from Into the Nexus podcast, and today we're going to talk about a difficult subject: well sniping. Where's our well anomaly? Why are these things still exposed? Should you take advantage of well sniping? A legitimate strategy, or an abhorrent monstrosity? Healing fountains are structures in Heroes of the Storm that provide players a buff, or actually a debuff, to the individual player who clicks it. This is a 20-second heal. This 20-second buff gives 40% health and 30% mana, which builds slowly over that 20 seconds. The debuff you receive has a 120-second cooldown. You can see the cooldown on the well itself, as well as in the bottom left corner. At 120 seconds, or 2 minutes, this buff is available for you at any point in the first minute of the game. On most maps, the objective starts at 3 minutes. If you use your well before the 1 minute mark, you will guarantee that you have a well for the team fight, or at least to retreat to, and then rejoin the team fight. But that's not what you came here to see. You came for these scandalous well sniping strategies. And in the early game, it's a great way to get an advantage. It exists in the game. It raises the skill floor. Now, any hero can perform a well snipe. It just depends how fast you want to get it done and how safely you want to get it done. We just have to make sure we avoid this tower range and this fort range. We also want to make sure that these minions are full past the gate, as they are mirrored on the other side. We're ready to go, and we can even use the lightning buff here. And as long as you're right on top, aiming right around these candles, you're all set to go. And while everyone's warring around the middle, I've just created an advantage for my solo lane. And a map like Dragonshire here has a very important and very long solo lane that very much benefits from having an active well available. So what's been done to combat this? Well, the wells have a shield that, after worn out, in 8 seconds, it'll begin to fill up again. That shield is equal to a fourth of the well's total health. When they made this adjustment, they actually took that health from the well, so the well didn't actually gain any hit points. It just gained a shield that regenerates. You can see that it's still missing that bit of health I performed, and as long as I damage it within 8 seconds, that shield won't start to regenerate, which is pretty darn easy to do here on Li Ming, who has an 8-second cooldown on Arcane Orb, and has a 3-second cooldown on Magic Missile. There's no reason I should ever let that shield fully start regenerating. I will always have more poke to reset that cooldown. It took me about 20 seconds to delete that well. Now I'm starting with Dragonshire here because it is so exposed, because it's available for melee heroes to get a well snipe in. But there's many other possibilities on other maps. There's a nook in the bottom of Infernal Shrines that ranged heroes can walk into and take out that well rather quickly. On Brax's Holdout in the bottom lane, you can sneak into the bottom enclosure and fire over the terrain and access the well there. On Volskaya, there's room to walk around the center and take out that particular well safely from melee range. On Gazel here, I can even leave early. In fact, it's hard to find any well that isn't accessible by someone doing some sort of strategy, who has some sort of range for it, who can access over walls. But why isn't the fountain protected by its fellow structures? Why is this a strategy? Well, one could say that it's really important to know all these various nooks and crannies, because that's how you're going to avoid tower damage. There's all sorts of little areas you can avoid getting shot by. And with the towers, at least being more aggressive than they were, it's a good idea that you know how to break the tower's range and continue to participate in that team fight rather than walking back through the obvious exit where a lot of the AoE action's going to be happening. Now, as I've shown with Yrel there, any hero can perform a well snipe. Some heroes have more escape than others and are safer at doing it. After all, the #1 counter suggested by the community to well sniping is just to gank the person. They're too far out anyway. Here, though, I've listed a lot of the heroes who tend to do it, and you can see amongst them there's quite a few cheesy heroes. The players who play them likely have the cheesy personality to perform this well sniping strategy in the first place. You do need a decent amount of throughput. You do need to complete the well in a set amount of time. Some here will certainly be better at the escaping part than others. But as I've talked about in other videos, the XP awarded for a hero kill in the early game is less than that of a full wave. Sure, losing a hero means you may not soak that lane. But what if you did? One hero for a well. A huge impact on the early and mid game. For the sake of argument, let's say these are our main cheesy culprits. What if sniping a well affects your win rate? What if it makes it go up? What if it's a winning strategy? These heroes also aren't usually soaking, so their deaths won't matter as much in a proper team comp. They're free to move about the map as they please, doing whatever cheesy business they wish. In the early game, all of these heroes are below 50%. Would you be comfortable with all of these heroes receiving a buff to compensate them for the loss of well sniping? Well sniping could very well be part of their power pie, an expression given to us by the team at BlizzCon 2017. Here you see Hanzo's power pie at the time, and how much of his power was dependent on his various abilities. We could picture a part of this pie dedicated to well sniping. So if we get rid of well sniping, all these heroes would need a buff. But doing something is better than doing nothing. So what can we change about our wells in a future anomaly that could reduce the impact or the chance of well sniping? Many say the well should be invincible as long as the fort is alive. Some have suggested putting the well inside the fort, or allowing the fort itself to be clickable and therefore it'll give the healing buff. Others have suggested that the front towers, if in existence, should be providing armor to the well. 15 each perhaps. 30 if both towers are active. At least it would slow down the amount of time it takes a hero to clear a well. This is also part of Alterac Pass and the core's armor, so it's not entirely unknown. It matches some of our previous strategies and things the team has done. What about 50 armor? 50 armor per tower? When both towers are active, it has 100% armor, therefore it's invulnerable. Have to get rid of the towers in order to get rid of the well. But my main question is, what's it even doing there? Why isn't it being protected in the first place? This game was made in the StarCraft 2 editor, so why can't we just pick up this well and move it? Move it back here. Put it up here. Why can't this well be moved freely into a more defensible position? Why can't it be slightly advanced? Why can't it be put into tower range? Why can't we increase the range of our towers to protect it? Why do our ideas have to be cute when they can be simply fixed by moving this well? I understand we can't put it in the trifecta. It would be in the way. But why isn't it safe? Why isn't it back here, guarded by the fort? We could even give it priority. Use that new call to help anomaly. If you attack the well, the fort gets mad about it. Counts as a hero. And what makes the middle well on Battlefield of Eternity so special that it gets 3 towers to protect it? It's an important well. It's the main one that services the objective. Don't other wells do that? Isn't every single well near an objective on most maps at some point in the game? Why can't we protect all wells to this degree? And I'm not saying any of this to begrudge the designers, but you should take advantage of every opportunity you have. People like to say you can't solo carry in Here's the Storm, yet they refuse to perform certain strategies, particularly if they're powerful in lower leagues where you can get away with more. So why aren't you? Are we all just too good of gamers for this strategy? We should be taking advantage of all these areas on the map where we can walk freely. And if we want to reduce cheese, maybe we need to clean up some of these areas. Allow the buildings to attack heroes while they're in range of these buildings, or should be. Take advantage of the strategies while they exist, but let's also call for Blizzard to do something about it. Something that isn't invincible wells. Something that makes sense. Why can't we change our maps to be better? Let's talk about how we can improve these maps so it is a defender's advantage. What's with these walls? Why can't we have a defended Hanamura map? Is this map snowballing because of map mechanics? Or because the bases are always exposed? Comment below what you think should be done, if anything, about the current wells. What sort of ideas do you have for future anomalies that could help the game? Don't forget to like and subscribe here at Heroes Hearth, and I'll see you next week with more Learn to Play Heroes of the Storm videos.